Welcome back to the part of the show I know you've been waiting for. The college football season is in full swing, and every team is now entrenched within their conference schedules. Joining me to my right is Dr. Josh Norris, here to explain and tell us how it is. And to my left, if you're having trouble reading that down there, it's pronounced Brzezowski. Greg Brzezowski is on the program with us. Thanks, Greg, for being here. Guys, college football has started, and we've seen we're all in conference play, but what conference is the best top to bottom? Greg, I'll start with you.
I got to go with the Southeast Conference.
Typical
I know it's
answer.
the popular pick,
Typical.
But look, you got 6 teams in the top 25, including the #1 team in the country in Alabama. Florida and LSU have had a ton of success.
Okay.
Ton of success the past couple years. And then you've seen teams from the bottom, as I was getting at, have a lot more success this year. Auburn, who was struggling last year, along with Arkansas, who struggled in the past couple years. They've risen to the top this year to become perennial powers in this college football season. That's why SEC has got to be
kind
the
of
best.
like Ole Miss, how they have really shown who they really are.
Not really.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go with the Pac-10. I'm going to really think out of the box.
like
Oregon's up there at number 3 now. They
Absolutely,
just beat Stanford, just passed Boise in the rankings. Arizona's at number 9. You also have Stanford there as well, who's kind of the Iowa of the Pac-10.
Yeah.
Just a rugged, tough team. Then you've got other guys. You've got UCLA, who just beat Texas. Oregon State, who played TCU and Boise State. It really is a class top to bottom. USC has all the talent, but they're really soft. Washington still has one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Pac-10's kind of loaded in talent, so I think that they're one of the best conferences in the country and the best.
Well, staying on that Pac-10 note, we've talked about Oregon and their explosive offense, a lot of rushing numbers over there. LaMichael James making some noise.
Definitely.
Talk about their win against Stanford. Big win in the conference, big win for the Ducks. What's going on with Oregon? Why should people fear
It was
them?
a great win over Stanford. Stanford, like I said, is a very tough team, and they get it from their coach and Jim Harbaugh. Oregon, you can't stop this offense. They have a sophomore quarterback, and LaMichael James is a real Heisman candidate.
Sure.
And
He'll put up the
NFL scouts
numbers.
can't wait for him to get in the NFL. Oregon, I think they are going to win the Pac-10 because I think they are so much better, even though the Pac-10 is used to beating up each other. So Arizona's kind of the last two.
That's the problem. The Pac-10 does beat up on each other because the top teams, like USC the past couple of years, even Oregon fell victim to at times, brought their play down to lower level teams and fell victim to upsets.
But the difference is Oregon's not soft like USC. USC has all the talent, but they're just soft. Pete Carroll, under them, they couldn't block, they couldn't run the ball. And this Oregon team is completely different, run a different style of offense. And I think Oregon is different than the past top teams you've seen in the Pac-10 from recent years.
Their offense is scary, but their defense does worry me, though. I think Stanford has a real chance to come back if Oregon loses a couple of tough games late in the season. They do play USC on the road and Oregon State on the road.
Well, Oregon is a surprise team, but the one team we knew about coming in the season was the Alabama Crimson Tide, and they have not disappointed. Big blowout win against Florida. Tell me why Alabama is a team to be feared.
Well, you mentioned that big blowout win against Florida. That was a big-time win for that program, setting the tone for the season after a huge comeback win against the Razorbacks of Arkansas the week before that. You have Trent Richardson and Mark Ingram, the best 1-2 combo in the backfield in college football today. Nick Saban's got that program headed to great places. The SEC I mentioned is tough, but Bama is that much better. That's why they're going to run away with the SEC title.
Are they going undefeated, though? Are they going undefeated?
I think so, and Greg mentioned it before. I think they have 6 top 25 teams in the Southeastern Conference, but Alabama is on a tier of their own. They don't have much senior talent, but they've got senior leadership, and the junior class is just loaded with NFL talent.
And you have so many carryovers from last year's national championship.
Definitely. And the two-headed monster in the backfield, that's untouchable in the entire country.
Yeah, well, Greg McElroy is a big reason for them being so. People want to give credit to the running backs, but McElroy is a precision passer who happens to, control the game. People say clock manager. Now, he is a precision passer, but we've seen some guys like Denard Robinson, big-time athletes make a big impact. Which one would you rather have right now? You want a guy that can throw the ball down the field or run it down the field?
I would much rather have a precision passer because he's just an extension of the coaching staff. And in college, the coaching staff wins the ball games, as we've seen from Boise State. So I'd much rather have a precision passer because he's not going to do a silly turnover when you don't need it. And athletic quarterback, he can run the ball once you stuff the run. If he can't beat you with his arm, then you got nothing else.
But here's the thing. When you excel at beating teams with your arms or your legs, It's a perfect storm, and that's what you get with a guy like Denard Robinson or guys in the past like Tim Tebow, Vince Young. These athletic guys can do it all. You see what Denard Robinson has done this year. He leads the NCAA in rushing, and he's a quarterback.
Right, but
how impressive is that?
But their team is still, what, number 15 in the country? They're not even in the top 10.
Rich Rodriguez was in jeopardy of losing his job.
They started out of the top 25. We'll give him a little
Exactly.
credit.
Rich Rodriguez has been in jeopardy losing his job for the past couple of years, and Denard Robinson is the only reason that people have forgotten about that.
But it really goes into the discussion of the coaches need to build an offense around the talent that they have. So that's why Michigan was so bad in the past, but now they have Denard Robinson. They're actually a pretty good team because that's the type of scheme Rich Rodriguez runs.
Yeah, it is something these coaches like Rich Rodriguez have acquired all this talent.
Right.
They want to make this work. Michigan has, maybe turned the corner. A lot of programs have been getting in trouble for their recruiting, however, and the type of players they recruit, getting in trouble off the field. A lot of issue with this recently. Greg, is it the players' fault, or can the coaches be blamed for what the players have been doing?
I don't think it's fair to put the blame on the coaches because they are the scapegoat in most of these situations. I think the coaches go to the schools and say, hey, I'm recruiting this guy. He's got a troubled past. I'm going after him, though. The schools approve it. Bam, it's the school's problem. The school's issue to deal with it. They need to bring in a professional, maybe someone just to mentor the students. The coaches don't have time to be babysitters.
But then why do we get to see it? Why do we see it from the same college teams over and over again? Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and now UNC. If you stretch the rules for these college players, they're going to even break those rules. So we've seen it with the same teams over and over again. I do think it's the coach's fault because they're the ones that recruit these players. They do thorough background checks in their family history and to the players' history. So I think it's the type of people that they recruit because we've seen it from the same programs over and over again.
I still think the purpose of college is to educate people, become a better person, and along with better athlete, and the schools are failing to do that in the moral area.
Well, guys, it's a tough subject. It's one we'll have to venture further into in the future. But when we're back, Christian will be joined by Andy Harris to discuss who they would rather have heading into baseball's postseason. Stay right there.